Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another video. It's great to have you back. Today, I want to chat with you a little bit about a significant event that's happening this week, and that is that Pluto in Aquarius receives its first planetary conjunction. So yes, this is the second ingress of Pluto in Aquarius. I'm sure you know all about that by now. We had an initial one last year from March to June, being 2023. And then, of course, we've had Pluto in Aquarius for about 2 weeks now. But despite that, we haven't had any planets connect with Pluto thus far. Yes, we've had the moon make her regularly monthly ping to Pluto, but usually when I'm analyzing the sort of more outer planetary cycles, particularly from Jupiter out, I often find that it's the first planetary conjunction or aspect that that planet gets will tell us a fair amount about that transit. That being said, though, does Mercury's conjunction with Pluto this week, which happens on the 5th at 0 Aquarius, I mean, is this going to really be the hallmark signature of the next 20 years? Possibly. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Pluto and Aquarius is really going to change the way that we give, receive, and exchange information, data, and all of those things. So before I get into a few ideas about this event this week, firstly, yes, I know in my previous video, I did say I'm going to try and be a lot more regular on YouTube. 2024 thus far has not been a success in that department. My apologies. Despite my best intentions, I do have Neptune on my midheaven right now. I am probably going to vanish from time to time. As much as I like to be as self-determined as I can be, I'm not immune to transits neither. In fact, I've got them for the next 5 years. So we'll see what happens. But I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad that you're here as well. And like myself, I'm sure you've been thinking a lot about Pluto in Aquarius, what it might mean for you and your birth chart, sort of in the now and also down the track as Pluto slowly makes its way through the next 30 degrees of Aquarius. So yes, it's activating a house for each and every one of us, but during the next 20 years, it's going to make various aspects to natal planets. Some of us are going to get those quite early. Some of us are going to get them a little bit halfway through. And then, of course, there will be others that are not going to get significant activations until we get towards the end of that transit. But this week, we get the first sort of collective symbol of what Pluto and Aquarius might signify. Now, when we look at outer planetary transits, so I'm really thinking here about sort of Jupiter out. Whenever we get a faster moving planet, so Mercury, Venus, or Mars, make a connection, so that could be a conjunction or a different type of aspect to the outer moving planet, it does tend to tell us a little bit about the nature of that cycle. It's going to give us the announcement, if you like. And so that announcement might be, the Mercury signature in this instance, or it could be more of a Venusian or a Martian signature. And in fact, in February, we get all three. But the first one is Mercury. So Pluto in Aquarius is very much a thinking kind of Pluto transit. When I've really thought about and done some research about Pluto and Aquarius historically, collectively what it seems to bring is questions about people, questions about places, questions about politics. Pluto in Aquarius, if I was to maybe hashtag that, it would be a little bit like, what if? It really invites thinking more deeply about newness, about ideals. It invites us to explore truth. If we think about its Saturn rulership, Aquarius is the sign ruled by Saturn, but it's outside of Saturn's rings. So it's really asking us to take a deep dive beyond the structures that we know, or beyond the Saturn realms that we know. And for some of us, we're going to be, come at me, bro, bring on all the newness. I'm ready for it. And then there's going to be others of us that, thinking outside the status quo, thinking big picture, thinking new ideas is going to be a bit of a challenge. And I think this is going to be a little bit of a part of this week. So when Mercury joins Pluto, we get some insights, intel, or information about this longer Pluto in Aquarius journey. Pluto in Aquarius is air. So air is very much, it's our thinker, it's our exchanger of ideas and information. Thinkers ask questions. So it is going to be a time where we are thinking differently, where we're exploring ideas and thinking very deeply about them. So when it comes to your personal area of your birth chart and what part of life is ruled by Aquarius, this week in particular really invites you to think quite deeply about that area of life and explore maybe beyond the surface of that area of life. Think, whether it's your second house of money, maybe it's your ninth house of philosophy and religion and travel, maybe it's partnership and relationships for you. Whatever house Aquarius is, this week you're particularly invited to ask, what if? What if it could be this, or what if it could be that? And what information, Mercury, is coming your way that's kind of helping you to dig a little deeper and find out the information that you need to know. It's possible that you have, some inklings and insight into what Pluto in Aquarius is going to mean for you at this point anyway. There's probably rumblings. For some of us, those are going to be louder than others. But with Mercury making its conjunction with Pluto, this is the first conjunction that Pluto receives. And so this is the first of, a good 20 conjunctions we're going to have with Mercury and Pluto. So this is really going to, on both a collective as well as a personal scale, ask us to ask the questions, right? To go deeper, to find out the facts, to find out the truth. This is a very airy, mercurial type of aspect. This isn't about feelings. This is about facts and data. And Aquarius is like a fixed sign. So there's not a lot of changeability here. And facts are facts, whether we like them or not. So there's going to be perhaps a little bit of a itchy, scratchy feeling for some people with the astrology of this week. Where Mercury is in the synodic cycle, it's traveling quite quickly right now as it approaches its superior conjunction with the Sun, which will happen later this month in the sign of Pisces. And so as Mercury keeps on, garnering speed and getting closer to the Sun, it's reaching that point in its cycle where it does want to think large scale, bigger. What if it's, if you think about it, particularly with your Aquarius house, you might be positioned in one particular area in accordance with that house. But what might it look like if I just dug a little deeper with my thoughts, dug a little deeper with my perspective, and thought beyond the here and now, thought about possibilities rather than probabilities? So that is perhaps a little bit of the challenge here as well, as Mercury moves towards the superior conjunction. And that is, is really thinking about the big picture of things, bigger perspectives, broader points of view and different points of view. Because in some ways, that's what Aquarius can also symbolize, being air. But every sign has its vices and its virtues. And one of the vices is the difficulty to be able to change one's mind. When you're presented with new information that contradicts whatever you already believe, that is called cognitive dissonance. And that might be something that you're grappling with as information on the ground changes, or maybe even your thoughts or ideas about a particular part of your life start to shift and change. And that's what Pluto does. Pluto does kind of it rots things away and drops the flowers and the fruit, which becomes the compost for the next cycle of growth. It's also important to think about that it's not like this is our first rodeo with Pluto in Aquarius, because in late 2020 through to early 2023, we had Saturn kind of grind through the sign. So we've already had sort of traditional astrology's Dark Lord of the Sky already help us with some issues in that part of life. And so I have been saying to clients, January, I've been just readings after readings, is look at what the sort of pandemic years or the jab years might have meant for you, and how there might have been choices or limitations or restrictions. And what did that kind of dig up, or what challenges were instigated around that time? And what do you need to do now in order to think about those things and bring fresh or forth that new growth? So there's very much a connection between sort of 21, 2, and a bit of 3 as to what we're experiencing now. So with Mercury and Pluto, this conjunction is a little bit of a contradiction in the sense that sometimes in order to get the truth, to get the broader perspective or the bigger picture, we have to dig further or dig deeper or dig beyond the facts, the data, and the information that we have now. So it's almost like if you think you know, probably you actually don't know. So again, this could be more of a collective topics as information comes to hand that contradicts narratives. Or it might be something to do with your personal life and your personal chart, where you're starting to think, well, yeah, I kind of got pushed or tested or challenged in 21, 2, and 3. And now, like, what is the deeper meaning of this? What is the deeper purpose? How can I maybe transform or grow or evolve through those experiences? Another thing that I think about too with this conjunction of Mercury and Pluto is that Mercury is a trading planet, a money planet, and Pluto is very much about wealth. And so in this day and age, as they say, data is the new oil. And so there might be some things around that as well, whether it's, protecting personal information, or we might also see some perhaps, data breaches or leaks happening on a more of a collective scale. So later in the week, we also see, Mercury will, get off the mark from zero Aquarius, and then it will square Jupiter. So Jupiter, the square happens on the 10th, over the weekend. And so this again is asking us to confront truths, confront beliefs, and confront new perspectives as well. So once you go digging for that truth, or you go trying to on a fact-finding mission, also be mindful that you might find things that contradicted what you already believed to be true. And so as the week progresses, you might start to have to grapple with some ideas and perspectives and be willing to accept that truths may change. Now, in the midst of that, we also have a new moon in Aquarius. So I'm not going to talk about that here, but suffice to say that whichever part of your chart is ruled by Aquarius, there's going to be a lot of attention there, not only this week, but throughout February. So there's a few thoughts on the Mercury-Pluto conjunction. I'd love to hear in the comments below. How are you finding life under Pluto and Aquarius? What house is it for you? How are you starting to feel the tides shifting within your life? I know for me, big time, and I'm here for it. It's all not a surprise, but I'd love to hear about yours. And also too, if you are interested in more astrology, deeper dives into all of the aspects and the astrology each and every month, my Golden Circle membership is the place to go. There's videos of all of the aspects of the month. We have a new moon catch up, which will be happening this week. There's loads of resources and community. or within the app. And so if you'd love to either just sort of jive with the sky at a better level, maybe you would like to sort of help expand your interpretations of aspects if you are an astrology student or looking to move into a more professional space with that in 2024. I highly recommend it. It's my favorite place to be personally. So that winds up the video for this week. Hopefully I'll do it again soon, but I'm not going to promise. And have a great week. And again, I'd love to hear what you are experiencing with Pluto and Aquarius.